today we're going to be making this frame, so thanks for stopping in. Hang tight, don't click away. There's a lot of fun stuff coming your way. So we're looking forward to making neat stuff with you today, and let's get started. So on this piece, guys, I'm overheating, it's so hot out here. This piece is a frame that I'm going to sand down the corners. Sorry about that. I'm going to sand down the corners. What I did is I had my husband cut this frame down for me, and then I put it together, and I did the corners with some wood filler. So I'm going to buff that down and make it nice and smooth. I just love this frame. This is so cool. But it was damaged, so we cut it down and we're repurposing it. We're giving it new life. And what I did on the back to just secure it a little bit more is I put an L bracket on here. So filled it with wood putty, L bracket it. Now I'm going to sand it down to make it look pretty, and then we're going to paint it. I'm going to use the tip. And that's pretty much it for this piece. We got the corners all smoothed out. The back's all cleaned up. We're going to take this inside. Hallie magic on it. We're going to repurpose it. And the thing that's really cool about this, let me out of here. It's so hot. And yes, you need to clean up your workspace when you're done because your hubby won't be happy if you don't. So I'm going to clean this mess up too, and then I'll see you in a few. Bye. You won't even know I was here. Welcome back, and we're continuing on with the frame that we are making into a wire jewelry type hanging frame. This is the one that we repurposed. Now I'm getting ready to paint it. And you may notice that I added a little bit of white, and I did around the frame a little bit whitewash. That's because I want the frame to pop, and I want all those engravements and that reason why I saved the frame, all that really cool detail work. I want that to show. I don't want to cover it up. So I'm kind of working on blending that all together and then hiding the repairs I did on the corners to cut it down. And yes, there we go. Pop a little bit more. You see an imperfection? I'm just dabbing a little bit of the paint and cover that imperfection up. Giving it character. Like I say, don't overthink it. Just have fun with it. Don't overthink it. Don't sit there and try to get every single piece because you'll go crazy. Okay, so now we're going to seal this. And you'll see all this little detail in here, and this sealant is going to actually make all that pop. I'm going to put the wire on it, so I'm going to show you how to quickly staple that on. Bam, 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 bam. And this is the stuff that I'm using, and staple it down with the staple gun. This is the flathead staple. You can use if your husband has the round head, because a lot of the husbands have lines. And electrical and stuff like that, they have the curve on it, so you can get the flat or you can get the curve. I have both. Of course I do, right? But anyway, we're gonna get to that. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. I thought, you know what, let's just get crack-a-lacking. And I'm gonna adjust my apron. The last recording I did, I noticed my apron was on lopsided and looked kind of funky. So I'm trying to be a little bit more aware of that. I wear my apron more to protect my clothes because I really tear up my clothes a lot doing this kind of stuff, and I just got tired of changing into my work clothes. It's like I do this spontaneously, so just get an apron that you like, throw that bad baby on, and you're good to go anytime. Little lipstick, done. Don't overthink it. So you're gonna have this wire around your meshing. Just take it off, and what I do is I save this wire for future projects. You never know. So I just round it up and put it away. And it's gonna really, this roll's gonna pop on you real fast when you take the tension off of it, so be ready for that. And it can cut your hands. Another thing you might want to do is put some gloves on when you do this. I've been doing this long enough to know kind of what it's going to do, and I'm one of those what they call TK people. I like to touch and feel what I'm working on, so gloves don't really work for me, but gloves are a really good ideal to have, especially for safety. I guess I'm saying do as I say and not as I do, right? And I have it laid out where I want it to go. You're going to notice when I tilt the camera back down, you want to leave about an inch gap on both sides to where you staple this down. You're stapling it to the wood, not on the edge of the wood. That way you don't crack and split your wood. So I'm going to use my wire cutters that I use when I do my florals and stuff. But you can get what they call, I think they're called tin snips. And you can use those as well. So we're going to measure this off, and we'll be good. Another thing I do when I'm cutting off on these wire cutters, you have a flat side and you have a V side. I use the flat side and I butt it right up and I cut it. So I'm going to continue to cut this down, but I was going to talk to you a little bit while I cut because hey, why not? So it was interesting because when I was doing my bows, I had this, you know, you make these creations and you do all this neat stuff, and people don't realize how much work you really put into it, but you do it because you just enjoy making neat stuff. For me, I really don't care about, you know, the time I put in, because I do take longer a lot of times, especially when I'm figuring out, because a lot of the things I've made is hey, Hallie, can you make that for me? It's like, well, sure, I've never done it before, but hey, let's give it a try. And then I'll videotape it and share it with you, you know, the process. So that's a process. It's like, yeah, it takes a little time to do something right. When you're doing things and you're making things for other people, keep in mind your time and charge accordingly. I know if you're watching this, you're probably a true die-hard DIYer and you're learning how to make fun stuff. But you're going to also find out down the line as you're making neat stuff, people are going to ask you to make stuff for them. Don't sell yourself short. Don't. Figure what your worth is per hour and your cost of materials, and go at that rate. There's nothing wrong with charging a fair price. I'm really fair with my prices. People will tell you that because I'm kind of double selling things when I'm making videos, even though I'm not making any money off the video. So here's your click and like moment. If I can get monetized, before I can start making money off my videos to pay for my habit. I need to support my habit. I'm a craft junkie, but I own it. I know I am. But really, when you're out there and you're making product for other people, take care of yourself and charge accordingly. And you know what you're worth. Because I get joy out of knowing that someone's enjoying something I made for them. So kids, when you're out there and you're in high school and you're trying to figure out what to do with your life, trade school is perfectly fine. In fact, I think it's an admirable, is that the word I'm looking for? God made us certain ways, and we're not all wired to be doctors. We're not all wired to be firefighters. You know, it takes a whole gamut of different skill sets to make this world go around. Just a little bio of me. I've done various jobs in my life. My last job that I just recently retired from was I was a school secretary. This is so exciting, cutting this wire. But I was a school secretary, and I also was a high school registrar for like 6 years. So I kind of know what I'm talking about when I say high school kiddos. Kind of, you know, if you want to do a trade, do a trade. It's okay. If you want to go to college, go to college. Start working on getting your grades up so you can get those scholarships, because you're not going to get a scholarship if you're just lagging. You're going to get told to go to the service. You're going to end up in the Army, like my son did, because he screwed off. It's like, well, you know, son, I have it. You know, there's 4 options here, because there's 4 branches that I can think of off the top of my head. But he did it. He went to the fire academy and did his thing. He served. But just think about that. You can be whatever you want to be, as long as you're happy. What's that saying? If you're doing something you love, you never work a day in your life. I have people going, why are you doing these videos, Hallie? It's like, because I love it. It's fun, and I love to share. This all started with COVID-19 as far as the video shares. I teach at Michael's, and we had just got that beta program off the ground and running, and then COVID-19 hit. And I thought, I've got this all set up. I have all this, I did all this work to get this all going. And it's just fun for me. I don't really need to work. So to me, it's not work, it's fun. I'm playing. And, but I started doing the video shares during COVID-19 because I just felt like there was something we could do to help each other through that time of being at home and being bored. We do kid videos too with puppets. They're so funny. But we'll get back to doing those too. We did that all on Facebook, and we did it for friends and family. We didn't do it for any other reason, but just to reach out to our friends and family. And we got such a response from it, we went ahead and pushed it out to the public. And when I hit 4K views, I went, maybe I should do YouTube. And I kind of like the YouTube platform. It's a little bit more professional, and I can edit and all that fun stuff as I'm doing this, so you don't get all my blips. I have a lot of blips. But anyway, so just kind of keep that in mind as you're going through life and you're making these decisions. And if you're older and you're just enjoying playing, enjoy playing. It's just fun. It's all good. It's all good. But for my clumsy followers out there, I'm one of them. Wear gloves and put an apron on, or put something on you don't care about, because this stuff does pick and grab at you. It will tear your clothes up. So now that we have that all cut out, we are going to straighten out and make sure it's smooth when we put that on. That we don't want it all wobbly. We want it taut. We want it really tight. So as we staple it, we're going to tighten it. So that's the next step that we're going to do. So let's get to that. See how this bubbled right here? That's not going to work for me. That's not good enough. So I'm going to take these staples out, just pop them out, tighten this back down, and then I'll tighten this up, this corner. I have this little tool. I have no clue what it's called. Okay? But this is what I'm going to use to pull those staples out. You can also pop them out with a flathead screwdriver. Because I couldn't get my little claws to get it out, I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver. Just pop that out. We want this tight. I'm one of those people, when people say good, it's good enough, to me when I hear it's good enough, or it's not that bad, I hear it's not that good either. That's my mindset. When somebody says, well, it's not that bad, it's like, well, if you're saying it's not that bad, that tells me it's not that good either. So let's just get that fixed. The struggle is real. Almost to the point where I'm happy with it. It's got to be tight. If it's not snug, it ain't working for me. What will cause that to be a little wonky are two things that I've noticed, that I've observed. God, I keep on moving my apron around. Anyway, is one, if the frame's not exactly symmetrical, it's not exactly a square, which this frame I repurposed, so we cut it down and then we wood filled it, bracketed it to make it really secure again. So it is a little off, so I need to, adjust accordingly, which we do in life, right? Just adjust accordingly and get that to go in a little bit smoother. When something goes out the door, I want it to be primo, and when it's not, I go back and fix it. Right, Connie? I made the last one I made for her. The knobs weren't real secure, so I had a rookie. My bad. It's a learning process. So that's a note to know. If you are putting your knobs on and they're not as tight and secure that you want them to be. Hoping and wishing and praying and kind of fixing it really isn't going to get the job done. So get some washers. Just get some washers, throw them in there, and good to go. And if you get washers that are soft metal like the aluminum, later on when you start playing with metal stamping, because I do jewelry stamping too, you can use those for your jewelry stamps, so it's not a waste of money. So anyway, you get 2 uses out of it. Buy a package of aluminum washers and you're good to go, or even brass is good too. Copper is good too. So we got the back done. What we're going to do too, like that, hang on. I have a little bag of tricks here. Here's like the washers I was telling you about. That's for those of you who don't know what a washer is. Don't laugh because some people don't. That's a washer. It's just those little flat things you see behind screws and stuff. That's basically a cheater to add a little taunt and a little bit more, make it a little bit more snug. And you can put 2 or 3 in there if you need to. These knobs are going to be the knobs that are going to go on this one. But another thing that I'm going to do on the back of this is because this is a jewelry frame and you don't want it flat up against the wall. 1, it's going to scratch your client's wall or your wall. 2, as you're putting your jewelry and your earrings and stuff, it's going to be difficult. So I'm putting these little spacers on. And these are just little tacks. Kind of cool. You can get these at any hardware store. I think they're furniture for you put them on the bottom of your furniture to keep your the legs of your furniture from scratching up your floor. But remember what I said? I use things that aren't made for what they're used for. I just make it up as I go along. But these work really good. So we're going to pound a few of these bad babies into the back of the frame for it's not butted directly up against the wall. And this is also going to protect your client's wall or your wall from getting all scratched up and give you that little room that you need to put your earrings and stuff in. So let's get that done. That easy. And I'm putting it between the wire because that's just another secure. It's just going to secure that wire. Okay, for you rookies out there, which I had to figure this out too. So because I'm going to be putting these little bling bling knobs on this particular frame, a silver jute type rope for the frame holder itself. So we're going to staple that on. Get all your backside done first, and then you flip it over, and then you work on your embellishments and everything. So to know me is to know I kind of wing it, but I do want this to go on even, so I am going to measure both sides. So we're going to go about 6 inches on this side. We're going to hang this down just a smidge. And all we're going to do is use the staple gun and staple this on. And I usually put 3 in there to make sure it's on there really nice and secure. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to measure it over. That's about 6 inches there. And we're going to staple this on. And I'm actually going to bring it down here just a little because I notice that that's just kind of, you don't have to get that crazy with it, but I like it on there pretty secure. So we're just going to trim this down before it's not hanging down in the visual. We know it's nice and secure now. So now we have the back side done. We have the hanger on it. You'll see that when I flip it over what it's going to look like. We have the wire on it. We have the little, and to give it that little extra padding. So let's just flip this over and let's see where we're at. Now that we've added the little wall hanger, and this is what the client wanted. She has actually a doorknob she's going to have in the wall, but this is going to hang on. It's going to look really cool. We're going to embellish the corners, make this a little foo-foo We're going to Hallietize it. Now we're going to embellish this frame because it's ready to get all blinged out. And as we do that, once we're done, then we're done. So let's get Okay, so now we have drilled the holes from the front side, and we're going to widen the holes from the back side because the screws are not quite long enough, and we want a secure fit because I've been there, done that, and I made that mistake before. Don't want to do that one again. Put in the little extra work and do it right. So anyway, we're going to drill the holes from the back side just a little bit wider for that head of that screw will actually pop down in there just a smidge, not the whole thing. And then that way when you put the knob down, it's going to tighten up. So let's get to it. Now you may be wondering, okay, how am I going to know where to drill from the back side? Well, you've already drilled your holes from the front side, so you have the holes there already. So you're just going to take your the bit that's going to make it a little bit wider, and I'll show you that in a second. So I'm going to show you the drill bit for you can see, you know, what we're looking at as far as what we're going to use to widen those holes. And from that point on, we're going to just roll. We're just gonna roll with it. So here we go. So my husband has taped this off for me, so I know when I get to this point that I'm done drilling and that my screw should lay into that little groove, that hole, and fit perfect, just perfect. Be careful when you're working with these type of tools because you can hurt yourself. And here's my disclaimer: if you're under 18, no go. Parent supervision to make any of these things. That when I'm doing with wood and power tools, you must have your parents' consent and their supervision. I just want them to say, oh yeah, go for it, babe. No. Parent supervision. So anyway, we're gonna take this bad baby, we're gonna drill it down, I'm gonna show you, and then we're gonna be golden to pop those screws in. Now we're just going to put this little screw through, and I'm just going to use my screw gun because I can. You don't have to. You can just pop them down in there with a regular screw, but because I like my toys. Get these all snug down in there. And don't have to snug them right yet because you haven't put the knob on them yet. I have to get them in there a little bit. When I turn it over, you'll see the screws. Okay, so now we're going to put the little knobs on there so we can get that even, where you can see what we're doing here. It's a process. If you're going to use a screw gun to tighten these up, just be mindful not to torque it. Strip your knobs. If you're new at doing this kind of stuff, just use a regular screwdriver. Okay, now those are on. Ta-da! So now it's nice and secure and ready to be decorated. Here I have laid out the lilac to match the purple frame. On top of it, actually going to its new home today.